Good morning. It is May 26th. This is a workshop session for the planning board. We have three items that we're going to discuss this morning: SAYA, zoning map update, and the best local law draft. We've got Greg Spromo here representing SAYA. Start with that one. So I think in this, we've just got a couple of things that have to get cleaned up in order to get this kind of over the finish line here. Subdivision, provide a status on where that stands.
I believe High Romans has drawn up the map. And we're combining 3 parcels of the 4.
When will that be ready, do you think?
I don't know.
This is Jason from Dunn and Scromo. They said within the next week or so. They're working on it. They had to complete the subdivision map, obviously join the 3 parcels you wanted, and the site plan application and the map will be submitted as soon as they finish it.
Okay.
They're thinking about in the next week or so.
Okay. So we'll keep an eye out for that one.
Yep.
Parking in the National Grid easement. Have you had correspondence with them? Where does that stand?
There's nothing precluding it from being used for that.
Have you talked to National Grid?
I don't think we need to. I think they only have certain rights.
And what are their rights? Because my understanding is they still can have it say on whether or not you can build in there. So it may not explicitly say that you can't, but it doesn't explicitly say you can. So I would prefer that you have that conversation with them. I don't think they'll have a problem with it, hopefully, but I think you need to have that conversation with them because I don't think anybody here is going to make that determination.
Let's see. I'll ask Neil.
Well, Neil,
Yeah, this is Jason again. Yeah, the town's attorney was on the email, but I believe Neil did reach out to National Grid, and he may be awaiting a response. But I believe he did reach out. You were on that email, weren't you?
I didn't see the one where he reached out.
Yeah, I think he did. I think he reached out to somebody. I saw an email train Friday that was going on.
Oh, maybe I didn't see that. I think it was Wednesday or Thursday. I heard from Neil. He was pushing back a little bit, but he didn't tell me he was talking to National Grid. I'll see.
Yeah, he had you and him had a conversation going, and then I thought I saw an email where he reached out. I can check my emails, and if I have any email information, I can send it over to you.
Okay, I'll check it right now too.
That'd be great. Yeah, we want to get that one kind of clear so that it's an easy one. And then lighting, I think was the third.
There's a lighting plan in here.
Yeah, there's a lighting plan, but the lighting shows you're over the limits at the property line. However, I think what we identified was the lighting plan that's in there shows the existing building, not with the wall packs on it. It doesn't show the demo part of the building, which would pull those wall packs back further away from the property line.
Wasn't there's a second lighting plan in there, isn't there?
Yeah, but I think they're right. This one here shows the existing building, not the building pulled back. So they got to adjust it. They got to move those lights
I
back.
see.
It'll probably take a couple
I
off.
see.
Yeah, so it's just getting that lighting level of the property line down. But I think that may just be the issue is that they're showing the existing building and not what you're proposing.
Yep, I agree.
I see what they did. Yep. Okay.
Get that
Understood.
correct.
Yep.
Other than that, are there other?
I think Mark was good with the drainage. We noted that the existing lights seem to be okay, just angle them down. The parking in the easement You noted that the signs are gonna be taken away from the right of way.
I think that's it.
Okay. Good on that one?
I'm good.
Okay.
Didn't go up.
Thank you.
You have 2 seconds?
Sure.
Let's cover Ironhorn real quick. Get you,
Hey, Jason,
Don't move, Jay.
are you still on?
I
Okay.
should do you for both. This is my fault.
No, we're fine.
I see this, I see a string of emails, but I don't see one where Neil said he actually reached out to Grid. He does say something about the lot lines and Mark Parrish would weigh in, but nothing about the grid.
Yeah, I thought, let me look at my email. Maybe you weren't CC'd on that. I thought you were though, but I think he did. I saw where he reached out to somebody explaining the situation to him, and I think it was somebody at National Grid. Like I said, I looked at it quick on Friday, so.
Also, either I or Alana, can interact with with Grid if there's an issue and explain our position and why we need that. And it's always different people, and we both, so I don't know, it's someone we've dealt with before, because we have consistently gotten these letters, so.
Yeah,
Someone will do it. You just hate to start reinventing the wheel all the time, but well, if we have to.
yep. If I was at my desk, I'd try to send it to you right now, but I'm out in the field today, so as soon as I get back in, I'll see what I can find, and I'll talk to Neil, and we'll get it sorted.
thank you.
One last thing
Yep.
on this data, we have SP0 digitally, but we didn't get a hard copy of it.
Really? Okay. Well, we've got to make some changes. I think Pam wanted the lot lines removed. Pam, did we clear that up before we get off this?
Pam.
Pam? No Pam here.
Alana?
I'm sorry, Alana. Alana.
Truth is out now, the aliens.
Jason, you weren't supposed to tell us.
Interesting.
You're asking about the lot lines on the site plan to reflect.
Yeah,
this?
yeah. Somebody had noted that they should be completely removed. We showed them to be removed, and
On the subdivision plan, they would be removed.
Yes.
So
Right, yeah,
What
when
will
you
be
actually
removed?
do the.
But on the
plan.
site plan, should it show like the old lot lines?
It's okay, I think the to be removed is okay on this plan, because that's the condition,
Okay.
yeah.
All right, so if you got a minute to talk about Ironhorn,
yes.
Our favorite project.
first, any updates on that fence?
we told listen, we reached out to them and let them know that what's going on and to reach out to you. I mean,
We didn't know that. They have no, they don't know what to do. Yeah, they got to sort it out with you guys.
Okay.
so I mean, we asked them because we didn't do the problem is we didn't do the permit set, so we don't know what they submitted. But the site plan clearly shows a fence. It just shows it's 6 feet height and it's 8 feet height. So
Yeah. The drawings that came in for building permit didn't show any fence.
I don't why didn't they just submit the approved plan? I don't understand that. So
All right, we're having our code officer follow up with this one.
yeah, we told them to follow up with you. I reached out to Troy and Colin over there and let them know what was going on, and they were looking into it to see who did the permit, and they were going to follow up with you directly.
Yeah, I think the code officer might have talked to someone. We'll try to figure that out on our end.
Okay.
All right. So the concrete curb with the ramp is fine. Doesn't have to be granite because it's integral to the ramp.
Rip wrap
Okay.
side.
Yup, the riprap is fine in the swale.
Only in that little section right there.
Yeah.
You know, we're not
Yep.
looking to wrap it anywhere. We understand, we acknowledge it. It's tucked back into the site. It's not really visible. You know, it's okay, but it's not gonna show up everywhere.
Yeah, it's just on the outside of the fence line. That's why it's tough for them to get out there and maintain it. But That was the reasoning behind that.
The stone mulch. The board generally discourages it. I think we've allowed it in the past in basically like a 2 to 3 inch size.
No ones.
I think this had a mix of 1s, 2s,
Lawnmowers
and
love
3s.
picking those up. Holy shit.
Well, and as part of that, we're gonna want a border or some sort of delineation around this area. So it's not just freewheeling heading into the grass.
We use those, I mean, we even did them at the office park where we would tear them out, because the frost takes them right up, and I gotta figure out how to keep them down.
How about a live edge? Would you guys accept a live edge?
The live edge.
It's where they cut. They basically cut the grass into a live edge. I can show you. I can send you pictures. It looks really nice. It looks just like edging, except there's no edging. It's just a live edge that's cut down, and then the bed starts up from there.
So you're seeing
You have
almost
to
a,
maintain that,
yeah,
yeah.
I mean, it's a maintenance thing. I think our concern is that not only does the grass start to grow into the stone mulch, doesn't get maintained. You know, if there is that edging, there is that separation. Like we said, we don't generally approve stone mulch. You know, on very limited occasions where there's heavy waterfall or something like that, we've looked at approving stone mulch in there. So the ability for the lawn to grow into it, we want some sort of edging, some way to contain it and separate it from that lawn space.
Okay.
I think too, the most successful stone mulch installs have been in locations where it is pretty well confined. You know, it's got edging around it, either a building or a curb. And in this case, since you have neither, it needs something.
Yeah, no, I'm fine with, we'll have a landscaper figure it out. I mean,
Okay.
I know we've tried it, and it just keeps getting kicked up every winter, but that may just be our guys not installing. Yeah, no problem.
Yep. So 2s and 3s, no 1s.
So you would prefer just regular mulch then? Yeah, I mean, we can ask our client if they would mind mulch. They just
that's
chose.
generally the way that we go. And like I said, on limited occasions, we've entertained stone mulch, but we generally discourage it.
Yeah, it's better for plants.
Yeah. Well, I'll have a quick conversation with them, and if they don't mind switching to regular mulch, we'll switch it to regular mulch for you. Because that was just something they asked for, and I don't know for what reason, but I don't know if that's a sticking point for them. So
So if it's regular, the edging doesn't need to be there. Okay, so you can use that as a selling point to them, Jason.
okay, sounds great.
Oh. All right, so that was fence, riprap, stone mulch, and then the curb
Curbing at the ramp.
At the
at the
entrance.
entrance.
At the entrance.
So you show it maybe just up to the property line.
Mhm.
I believe the board prefers it to
Generally
first
return to the
corner.
first inside corner.
So
Okay,
like to here or something, or to here? At the beginning of the corner,
I mean, generally it will go around to the inside to the first stall. And same thing on the bottom, and allow it to sheet. You know, moving across the parking in there.
Okay.
It's generally what we have for you.
I'm fine with that. How far on this side here?
That could probably just go, I would say it just goes a little into the site. You could almost go,
Maybe like a section of one.
yeah, just in line with that. The vertical
Like
line,
here.
yeah, like there, so it's in line with kind of the vertical section there, just
Which
terminated
may come
there.
around in one more section, like after the curve ends.
Yeah.
Drop it.
Yep.
Perfect.
What else? Is that everything?
Yep. So just showing the wall pack on that little elevation.
Drainage basin.
Yes, you're working with Mark Parrish. for the slope on the drainage basin?
I think we.
Oh, yeah, I can modify the basin to make it 4-on-1. We have enough room there to do it. We'll take care of that. We'll switch it to 4-on-1.
Thank you.
And I believe you're adding another wall pack over the overhead door. Yeah, showing it on this elevation.
Oh, yep. We can add it to that elevation for you. Yep. I think we gave you a little lighting plan showing you that one wall pack. So.
Yep, got a cut sheet for it. Yep.
Just want to note those 2 residents who came to the ZBA meeting talking about drainage, you guys
Yep.
comfortable if they're gonna be, if that's covered?
Yeah, I mean, if anything, it's gonna be reduced the amount of water going.
Yeah.
And hopefully a little less stagnant waters, digital.
Yeah, there's a reduction in flow off the site, and they are right. There's water coming from upstream and flowing through the site, all the time. So I don't know if it's a pipe size limitation on the bottom side that's causing it, but that's a town pipe, I believe.
And last but not least, signs are gonna come under a separate application.
Yes, separate application for signs. There's no signs showing. Yep.
So I believe the board will want to see that when it comes back.
Yeah, they're gonna file for a totally separate application. They'll pay the fees, and the reason they're doing that is because they're changing their logos. They're in the middle of like a logo change, so they're not even sure exactly what the sign would look like at this point. So that's the reasoning behind that.
That's fine. The approval will be with a condition that no signage has been approved for this building.
Yep.
There's no, site signage and directional stuff.
There's nothing shown.
Okay.
Yeah, there's nothing.
Do they need, find out if they need like one way or enter or.
Yeah, I think they plan on providing that all under one site package, all under one sign package.
Okay.
If they want any of that.
Okay. All right. Anything else?
That's what I've got.
Okay.
Get close.
Thank you, sorry, we
Yeah.
forgot that one.
That was my fault. Not a problem at all.
Well, we figured since you're here, we might as well hit.
Well, no, it's right,
project.
because I mean, we were going over it last Friday anyways.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jason.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
You too.
Okay. We're gonna give Jamie one quick second. So you can give a update on the zoning map?
Yep, not a lot of changes since we first sent this to you guys. We realized that the transportation hub overlay, I think that's the name of it, hadn't been shown on the plan, so that's now on the plan. Hold on, I'll take the exact name of it. Transportation and Distribution Node Overlay District. So that's on 2 parcels, the Amazon parcel and the one next to it. And that's already been applied. It's not adding anything that wasn't already there. It's just adding it to the map. So that, I don't know if that was previously mapped or on a different map, but it wasn't on our zoning map. Other than that, I don't think we've changed anything else. Did anyone have any comments?
This map doesn't reflect that yet.
What's this?
This is the main.
So that is the transportation, but if you go up, I don't think I saw that later pink on the. Or maybe it is. It's those two
Yeah.
parcels right there, but maybe it's.
The hash is like,
Okay. So do you know what 2 parcels we're referring to? The Amazon and the one right adjacent to it?
You guys show up with the cursor.
jump in and Julie.
Those 2 parcels.
We do that because of the amount of traffic.
it was a
Is that done?
note a long time ago, I think,
Yeah, I'm
right?
not sure when
It was
the.
done even before.
No, I just mean the
So-
concept of this transportation. So
We've never implemented it, but it's there as part of town code, so we're just making sure that it's shown on the map and identified. But I haven't come across it,
Good morning.
so. Morning. Okay,
Those two.
Did the town board ever act on the big box club retail store zone change?
Yes, that was approved.
That was approved. Okay.
Yeah. Wasn't a zone change, it was adding code.
Just a code change, yeah.
code change, yeah,
Created the wholesale retail club
use and function.
Yeah.
Okay,
use, not overlay.
use.
All right, any questions with this one or?
So this simply just updates our 2008 map that was already in place.
Yes. Yeah, adds all the overlays, I should say the 2026 parcel data was just released in the last week. So now we have the 2026 parcels in here too. So this is the most updated parcel data that's out there now.
Love it. Okay. So if there are no other questions on that one, the intent is to update on Thursday night and make a recommendation
Yes.
for that one. Okay, so we'll discuss that Thursday night and make a recommendation. Next, we got the VETS update. So Bill was so kind as to spend his free time leisurely reading a bunch of electrical. So based on the draft that was there and your research, do you want to hit on some high points? And then do you want to talk
Yeah.
about some updates?
To go through, so we went through Bill's comments and kind of marked up our last version. So if we could run through those comments, everyone should have a marked up version. And I'd like to run through the comments
I think that's fair.
of what's changed. Do you want to talk first, Bill?
I think I'm pro technology and pro.
We're still recording, right?
Yes.
Yep.
Pro responsible business. So with those two ideas in mind, that's where most of my comments came from. Addressing both the aesthetics of such a installation, how that can be amenable to our town look, if you will, as well as the financial implications for a business that wanted to get into this area. And the last comment, and overall, would be the suggestion that the town complement its solar PV field with an installation like this, where there would be financial advantages for the town, just like there are financial advantages with the solar field. In my mind, that would propel the look of the town as being this pro technology, but more so in what we believe it should look like. And that way we're walking the talk. I don't know if that's something that we include in any type of
Yeah, I don't know that that's.
I don't
proposal.
think that would go in the code.
Right.
but
No,
that's
no,
something
not that
the
it would
town
go.
could-
But just
Put it to
the
the
idea, and it's certainly a town board and Max
Right.
And I
issue.
passed your comments on to Max.
Yeah. But it certainly would not go into code. It has nothing to do with the code. It's just, if we're going if we're going to legislate on this, yet there is a advantage for the town at no cost, then it, in my mind, should be a thought that they consider. Whether they act on it or not, that's none of our business as this board.
Okay, should we just start going through the code and we can talk about what we changed?
Yes.
Okay. So the first one is under 192-140 applications for battery energy storage systems. We added a sentence at the end of the paragraph. An application shall include documentation from National Grid that they have received, approved, and granted permission for the battery energy storage system. And then my question was, is this only required for front of the meter systems or also back of the meter systems?
From National Grid, it would be any meter system.
Any
Well,
system?
so
Okay.
my question is National Grid the authority granting permission for the BESS?
For connecting.
Right, but the way that it reads here is that National Grid is the one granting permission for the BESS, like.
Okay, should we
They're the
say
first step.
granted
I think
permission?
we should not say National Grid, we should say the local utility,
Local
Yeah,
utility.
that's what I was gonna say, yeah.
right, in case it's ISO or somebody else.
Shall be
Yeah.
documentation from
But
local.
I think wouldn't they review that the BESS or that their grid system is capable of accepting it, that they're not granting permission?
No,
to the
no,
BESS?
they're just, their whole purpose is to make sure it does not,
Adverse
this
impact.
customer connection does not affect.
Right, so that's how I want that to probably read, is that the utility doesn't permit the grant of permission.
Okay, so an application shall include documentation from the local utility that they have reviewed, approved, and granted. What would the wording be that you guys would use?
Maybe
Change
the
the
connection.
connect or the
I don't even
connection?
know that they would grant any, that they've reviewed.
They, another way to look at it, they don't oppose. They don't oppose the connection to their system.
Yeah.
So Doug just showed me, and this is from Town of Granby Solar Energy Systems, applications for solar energy systems will have a utility connection. That will have a utility connection shall include a signed interconnection agreement or letter of intent from the interconnecting utility company.
That's
That's,
Should we do
yep,
that and just
Yep,
substitute in BESS?
Yep. That I think was it. I just don't want them having
No,
approval
they got it now.
permitted.
So we often have a hard time having National Grid say something beforehand. Bill, do you know if they would give permission beforehand, or is that going to be something that's kind of difficult? Because we've just been having issues getting them to respond on other applications we've seen early
Yeah.
on.
It
Yeah,
would
it's
be-
just,
It would be a fool's errand and a waste of our time, let alone the applicant's time, if they did not have that permission before.
I
submitting.
agree, yeah.
We can permit all day long. And if they are opposed to it, it doesn't happen.
I also think that they have requirements on how quickly they have to act. To the
Yes.
Public Service Commission,
Correct.
right? So it's the same with the solar and the BESS. That
Right.
they're gonna get an application and they have to act, I don't know what it is, 90 days or something.
And you're absolutely right, as opposed to other actions that applicants have requested from them. They are under PSC ruling on their timelines for these connected.
All right. yeah,
Would-
thank you. Thank you.
Does that mean though that it has to be an affirmative approval or is it conditional? Often there's conditions on most of these things. So would we accept that as well?
When they, when an applicant seeks approval from National Grid, they're actually doing most of the work that we've asked for in our permitting process, in our code. So in that review that they do, they will be making changes to the applicant's design as they see fit, so that this system does not affect the network. So it's not like it's not like they're just asking for permission. They're actually going through an engineering and technology review with National Grid, who will have implemented their needs and resources and requirements onto the applicant before we even see it. National Grid does not care about the aesthetics that we're interested in, so that's not an issue. And typically what we're looking for does not hinge on what National Grid needs, which is solely the connection and connectivity to the network, so as to not harm the network, because they're looking out for all the customers.
And what we've seen in other communities with the solar submissions prior to this, and I think the solar companies are getting battery down. I mean, the people that are really serious about it, they come in with a notebook and they take this whole code and they put tabs in and they come in and say, here you go, right? And it's 1 or 2 meetings.
Yeah.
The ones that aren't serious go on and on and on. I mean,
This is a kind of installation where you have to be serious. It's not the whimsical.
right.
The margins are not incredibly great on it, so if you don't know what you're doing or looking for what you're doing, you're gonna lose. Nobody's in business to lose.
Okay. Should we move on to the next one?
Yes.
Okay, so under 192.3, requirements for tier 3 battery energy storage system in E. We changed the wording a little bit. Instead of saying any lot on which a tier 3 battery energy storage system is located must be at least 100 feet away from the state or federal wetlands, we're saying the tier 3 battery energy storage system must be at least 100 feet away from the state or federal wetlands. So changing the setback to be from the actual BES rather than the lot that the BES is on. Any comments about that one?
No.
Oh, good with that.
Sorry,
Next.
just so I understand it. So we're redefining the wetland requirement, not from the lot, but from the edge of the BES itself.
Yes.
And that's the building itself, yes? Or the disturbance? I'm just parsing the words.
Not necessarily a building,
So what is it?
just those battery units.
Right, is it measured from the fence though, or like the concrete pad?
Just like the fenced area.
I would think so. I think that's what you wanna. Because otherwise they're gonna run the wetland line right up to the edge of the trailer.
It'd be the actual bus system, because you can put a fence anywhere. Like if they wanted to put the fence out so much further just to keep people off the whole property, they wouldn't need another fence, would they? Like similar to pool fences. But it makes sense because if you had a 200-acre lot and you wanted to use a small little portion for this best thing and you wanted to put it out of sight, but there was a wetland, at the north corner of that lot, this would have nothing to do with that wetland.
Good point. Does a tier 3 need a fence like immediately around it? Or is
I
it
don't
just
know.
the
Is
pools
it like a swimming pool?
Right.
Yeah. I don't know.
I
that
would-
it'd be like immediately around it.
I think you'd want to have a fence around the enclosure.
Well, it's not
I'm-
what we think. It's what are the rules.
They have to have a fence. I don't know that how close the fence has to be to the BES.
Well, I mean, it's not gonna be right up against it, you need parking space around them,
Yeah. And I mean,
driving space. They gotta move trucks and stuff around these things.
I lean towards the equipment or the building or the box as being the point of measurement rather than the fence. Because our concern is the failure of the impacting the equipment.
Right, I mean, that is the concern.
So the way we have it written right now is from the system. So would you take that to just meet the actual unit? So I think how we have it,
I would accept system.
council.
I agree with the wording now, like the system.
Yeah, I don't know.
When you get into system,
Yeah.
like what is our,
Yeah,
Could it just be the disturbance?
but the disturbance falls into if they have an access road or space around it, like, I think that's if you are talking about the vertical structure, i.e. the battery enclosure or a building, that is the point at which
I think that's what we're
you could say,
talking about.
when you talk about system, so I guess that's.
Well, you could say operating system, if you said operating system, then it's not including any access around the machinery itself. You're actually talking about whether it's a building or the operating system. If you use the word system, in my mind, you could say, well, the pathway around it is part of the system. That's not what our concern is.
The structure.
But
Yeah.
like if
So-
you said, the BESS system, like I think anybody could come in and say that road isn't part of the system. The system, it's meant to be the power system.
Yeah, and BESS has the word system built into it, battery
Yeah.
storage system.
I
So-
guess I just found what I found real quick. Is industrial BESS containers or utility grids, a perimeter security fence is usually mandated by local code to sit much further away, often at least 100 feet from occupied structures or specific property lines. That's the fencing piece of it. I don't know what you can pull out of that, but
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
You're not gonna occupy the building, so it's not like you can.
no, it refers to containers or utility grids.
So back to what the concern is, so
Our concern is that the actual system, should it have a failure, we want that buffer to this.
At minimum 100 feet.
Yeah,
It's
we,
a measurement question, so there's no haggling later.
Right.
we're not concerned, we are concerned, but for the purpose of this conversation, we're not concerned about where that fence is around the
Right.
system.
What is that measuring point? Where do we put the pin in the ground to say this pin has to be 100 feet, nothing else can be in there?
I mean, if it's a state wetland, they have the 100-foot wetland buffer, so if the fence was within that, I think they would still need a wetland permit. But we don't even want them to get wetland permits for BESS systems.
But for that Connex container, the battery container, whatever that thing is.
Do we look at it the other way, instead of saying it has to be this far away from the wetland? Do we put that measurement on the wetland? Create a border around the wetland?
That's effectively
Yeah.
what that's doing.
just,
Which
Right.
part can be within that buffer?
Right.
And the same
And a
thing is
fence.
gonna apply to point D right above this, where we said it has to be 1,000 feet from any. So however we word this,
I think,
same kind of
I
applies
think
to.
residential, we were gonna do differently because
It's not differently, I
Because we
think.
don't, residential setback, we did want it from the property line because
Okay,
we don't want it
property,
just
what
from
are we
the house.
measuring to? That right now we've determined it's the property line or it's the wetland line. Those are the starting points. So
Okay.
from there, we're offsetting either 100 feet or
Right.
1,000 feet, but what
well, we were gonna do them differently for wetland and residential.
you're gonna define differently what's allowed in that 1,000-foot setback for residential versus what's allowed in
I
that
think
100-foot
what I'm
setback.
saying, it's just lot line to lot line.
Yeah, because assuming people are using more of their lot than their house, if you have a pool, your backyard or whatever, we don't want that to be within.
And is that how everybody
We're gonna-
reads that?
No,
Point
so
D right above it.
maybe I'm misunderstanding, but what I'm kind of going at is, fine, we said from the property line, 1,000 feet. In there, or we're saying 100 feet for the wetland,
Yes,
but what are we measuring to?
right. I mean,
I
do we
think
just,
the word is container. It should be measured from the battery energy storage system container.
So then anything that's not the container is allowed within that 1,000 feet or within the 100 feet, as long as it's not
Yes.
inside a wetland.
Right. It could be a road, it could be a fence, whatever, but I think container was the definitive word.
I think that's what we're trying to figure out, what we measure
I like
to.
that, Kathy.
Your wall of the container, or is it just you drop a pin and then say you have a big container systems, you drop a pin in the center of it?
It's
No.
the wall.
It's the wall.
We have to
Yeah,
say,
it's the
Well,
exterior.
I mean, that's usually how you measure
Right.
in any zoning situation. It's like, here's the wall.
Right.
It's to the
Right.
wall. So I don't
So
have
the
much of a
definition
problem
of
with that.
battery energy storage system is one or more devices assembled together capable of storing energy in order to supply electrical energy at a future time, blah, 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 blah. I mean, that's gotta include the container. That's
I
what's
think
pulls the
right.
whole
I
thing
think-
together. I think that's.
So what about any of the ancillary, the support pieces to that? I mean, the containers are one thing, right? So those are regulated, they're kind of stacked around the site. But they're not the only thing there. There's other.
Expensive
Correct me, yeah, like,
access roads and interconnect.
well, yeah, the roads, but I'm thinking there's
Some
other,
buildings.
yeah, panels.
And for
accessory
this
buildings,
purpose right
Right.
here, I don't care about those, I'm just concerned about the failure of that.
Container.
Right.
Yeah.
So maybe that's what we have to say is both
We
the
also-
residential setback and the wetland setback, it's measured to the containment system.
Right, but I think we're
No, not
overthinking
system.
it when it comes, yeah, I think it's the container because I think we're overthinking it when it comes to the wetland. The wetland has its own rules, right?
Right.
Like the wetland talks about the things that can't be next to and on a wetland. So
Includes
what?
vests. I don't think they have specific rules with vests.
But a fence is a fence.
No, but they do, but with fences, they do with roadways, like all of that. So we're, rethinking a rule that's already there. We're just putting a extra limit on the distance. We are extending the distance, and that's all we have to think about for the wetland. Just how far do we want to extend the distance? Because wetlands already have rules like about development and everything. I think we're overthinking it.
I think we might be too, because the sentence we started with might just address what we're discussing, because it does say the best must be at least 100 feet.
Right, but I
So
think
we're
we're
saying
saying
the
the
system.
system. The rest
So
is.
again,
I think
say
what
the
we're-
battery energy storage system container wall. Then you're
Yeah,
being
I
specific
think
to the actual
they-
unit.
Define is what defines the best.
It's the
Is-
batteries.
It's the batteries,
and
right? So
how-
leave it simple
and
as
they're
that, it's the
assembly.
battery.
Yeah.
It's
Do we
that
need to
container.
worry about the electrical, the accessory electrical equipment
No,
I think most of that
Right.
is all in one system,
in this?
right? I don't think they have a lot of.
it depends upon
Periphery.
the system and to address what you're talking about is no different than us addressing a substation for National Grid.
Right. So
I mean,
think-
you could also, utility grid, right? Like there's best utility grid, there's best containers,
Well,
I think they have a lot of different systems.
But we're only addressing the battery energy storage system, correct?
Yeah, we're just. If
Not
there's some
anything
sort of-
ancillary to it.
If there's
Yeah.
some sort of catastrophic failure and this thing starts leaking, we don't want it doing that right adjacent to a wetland.
Which is
Right.
where the batteries are.
Right, so that's what I think I'm trying just to define.
Yeah.
What that separation is, if
Yeah.
it's to the container, if it is the
Well, it's
best.
to the best, which I think includes the container because that's how these things are housed.
Okay.
So the definition of battery energy storage system, one or more devices assembled together, I would think that would include the container. Right?
mhm.
Yeah,
I would say container wall, because we
Doesn't
don't know
mean
what
there's
it
nothing
is.
else that these are gonna look like,
Yes.
it's a container of some kind.
Yeah, they're
The
all,
outermost portion of the container.
but I think that's implied with the best definition. I don't know that we need to say that.
Yeah, I think we're okay. And
okay.
I think we're okay.
So how does everybody read point D
Keep it out.
above? I'm noticing there's an extra is located, but I don't know if everyone's realizing it's property line to property line.
I don't think it should be the property line to the property line. That's what we're changing. We're changing it to the system because like I said, if I had 1,000 acres, you can't tell me I can't use it in the middle of my property because there's a wetland right on my property
No,
line.
No, wetland.
To the residential
Residential.
setback.
Oh, okay. So
Okay,
I
but
feel
I
like
got
it's
I got
the-
1 million acres, right?
Yeah, so I feel like it's the same rule. Like we have to say a distance. We can't just say a property line because what if I had the hugest property? And what if next door I just don't, not everybody's property in DeWitt is small.
In industrial districts and adjacent to industrial districts, most of them are smaller. The residential property.
Right,
I
so-
think for
Well,
the
but you couldn't put it on
residential,
Carrier.
The way I'm reading this one is you're saying anywhere that there is an industrial lot to a residential lot, if I was to offset a line 1,000 feet from that into the industrial side, the best system cannot be anywhere within that 1,000 feet. It's not from a residential structure, it's not from a pool, it's not from somewhere that they put on their property, it's from the property line, offset 1,000 feet. No best system shall be located within 1,000 feet of that property line.
And if that 1,000-foot circle
That's not what it
touches your
says.
property line, that whole entire property can't have one. It's not just in the 1,000-foot circle.
Right now, it's property line to property line.
So if that 1,000-foot from, you have a house in industrial district, from that lot line, 1,000-foot circle, if that 1,000-foot touches just a lot line of another large property, even 2,000 feet beyond, that large property can't have one.
I don't
Well,
think that's fair.
Yeah, that's how it's written, right?
So like example, like
is-
the Carrier site could not have it, right? Because that's Carrier Park is on basically on Carrier property now, right? And it's
Correct.
plenty big to hold one, right? Plus there's residential outside of the area.
Why wouldn't we just say 1,000 foot away from the property line?
Yeah,
So then if you had a huge property, you could still do it. You just couldn't do it next to the residential.
Yeah, you can't be any closer than 1,000 feet to the residential. Why would it
Mhm.
separate or say?
You couldn't have one, period. It doesn't make sense.
Well, we need to relook at that because that's not the way that it was written. And I think that one of the things that is being looked at right now is that this is sort of a beginning point of this. Some towns are outlawing it entirely. We're trying to make it happen, but we're trying to make it really limited and then see how it goes and then expand.
Okay, so I'm sorry, Jamie. I thought you were
No,
done.
that's okay. I finished that thought. Thank you.
Again, if you just combine the two and start with the battery energy storage system container wall at 100 feet and 1,000 feet from any residential property line. How would that work?
I agree with that. Like it has to be 1,000 feet away from any property line, like.
Yeah.
But I don't think that it should rule out a whole property.
No, it shouldn't. I don't think so either. You could have a large property and want it on one part of the property, not in the
Mhm.
center of it.
Not anywhere near the residential side of your property. Like if your property
Right.
goes,
That's
and go ahead.
Well, now let's talk about, because this may bring up a different issue. If you're a residential property, we just said it's to that structure. What about the
To
roads?
the
What about the fences?
Oh,
No.
to the best structure, right?
Right, we were saying it's to the best structure. Now you got a residential property line and they could have, their industrial fencing right along the property line. They could have roads and other stuff. Do we want to treat that differently or residential?
Well,
I would love it if my commercial neighbor put up a fence that we approved, we would make them put a beautiful fence up next to my lot. You know what I mean? Like I think we have control of the way the fence and stuff already looks, and we wouldn't do something bad to the neighbors.
Right, and put a pin in Bass right now and look at it as an industrial site. If an
Yeah.
industrial is up against a residential property, what are the requirements that industrial property would have against residential? Is it required to put a fence? Are they precluded from putting a road right on that edge? I don't know that the industrial side says in the code that they're not allowed to do that stuff right now. So by saying the best systems, those containers are not allowed any closer than 1,000 feet to the property line, doesn't, I think, change anything in the industrial code. Because they could still put a road, if it was just a factory, they could put a road right up against the edge anyway. Is that true and fair?
And we already have control of what it looks like. So we could say, hey, you know, you're putting this up against this beautiful neighborhood that happens to be next to this industrial area. And so we're going to make you, you know, put up a iron fence.
Okay, so I changed the wording to say any tier 3 battery energy storage system must be located at least 1,000 feet away from any lot with a resident or any lot with a dwelling or public park use or residential district boundary line as measured from the nearest lot.
Lana, one more question, not throw a curveball at it, but are there any non-conforming dwellings that we're aware of that might be in
Yeah.
industrial?
Yeah.
So this would apply to
Kind of
that as
just-
well.
Yes, that's why we said residential lots and residential districts, because there are quite a few residential lots in the industrial zone.
Right, even though they're not zoned residential.
Correct. They're all pre-existing non-conforming.
Right. Okay. I think that's important.
Yeah.
So where did the 1,000 feet come from?
Trying to protect the residential. It's just a recommendation of the legislation.
From my survey. Right.
No.
Yeah, on a side note, right, we had this happen over at Ultra Dairy where they put that substation in the guy's backyard, and it was awful. Remember that?
Yeah.
How close was that?
10 feet, maybe.
You were up all night with the hump.
Yeah.
He hooked his line to the underside of it. And
Are there any parallels to this for things like other than substations, but what about like natural gas or propane large storage vessels? Do we already define that in our code, or is that more on the utility side? Because I think there's some parallels here.
I don't think so, the state.
Yeah, I don't think it's in town code.
No.
Maybe.
I don't know what's building code.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't think-
Energy storage would be
Yeah.
like regular storage in the building code,
Mm,
a hazardous storage.
I wonder if it's in the fire code then.
Yeah, like
might be.
the
Well,
hazard level.
Okay, everyone good with this now?
Yep.
Could you read it one more time?
Yeah.
Thanks.
Any tier 3 battery energy storage system must be at least 1,000 feet away from any lot with a dwelling or public park use or residential district boundary line as measured from the nearest lot lines.
Yep.
Okay,
Good by me.
Yep.
Mhm.
all right. The next one is in 192, 144. H4. The estimated decommissioning costs and how said estimate was determined. So we're saying that's part of the decommissioning plan, and we added a sentence, decommissioning costs shall use the gross cost of removal and hazardous material disposal and shall exclude any scrap value of the batteries. That was a comment from Bill.
So it's basically the full value. They're not getting any discount for what's.
No.
Yeah.
They have more issue on how we require them to.
Can we say that the site shall be brought back to the level that it was prior to? If there's some kind of hazardous spill that's in there.
Down to it was number 6, now it's number 7. It talks about that, and then we added a number 8. Based on one of Bill's comments, full environmental remediation, including but not limited to stripping contaminated soil, neutralizing toxic fire suppression runoff, and restoring the site to original baseline environmental conditions.
Perfect.
Love this.
course you did.
Who wrote that wonderful sentence?
Said perfect. Yay.
I did.
So how do we know what the original baseline environmental conditions are?
That would be
Well-
the pre-development condition of the law.
Right, but do we mandate testing for pre-existing
Post
chemicals or
clearance testing.
pollutants that are already there, right?
That would be on the developer. If they,
Yeah, I can see it's up to them to
That's the-
if
create
they,
the baseline.
if they develop.
If they don't do a phase one environmental site assessment and recognize any pre-existing conditions, they're responsible for cleaning up the entire site regardless at the end.
Which is,
Works
yeah,
for me.
which is what regulates if you go and develop something, you own it. You own it for life till it's listed as clear.
Right.
Which is also true like for any construction site. Like if you don't do your due diligence about like the existing conditions at the beginning, you're responsible for them.
Yeah, you own it for life.
Yeah.
The minute you own that parcel, you own that parcel.
All right, so we should be covered there.
You know,
Yep.
Alana,
Okay.
before we kind of move, can I just real quick, just to kind of make sure that this is in there, but for the residential battery energy storage, is there something stipulating that there's a minimum of 3 feet clearance between the battery and any fence, wall, or obstruction?
that would be up to the electric code.
That,
Yeah.
That's all in the electric code, okay,
yeah.
and it references that.
Well, any installation has to be code compliant, so that's already referenced in the building code.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
we gotta walk a little faster.
All right, so I'm going down right under where we were to K, decommissioning fund. We added another sentence, every 5 years, the estimated decommissioning cost shall be reevaluated and the cash escrow balance shall be modified accordingly.
Yep.
Where is this cash
Yeah, and how's it invested?
and
Who
how
gets
do
the
we
interest?
and do other places do this? Other towns?
I will tell you that they do it on a lot of projects and solar in particular. This is new, so we don't know what other people are doing. But this whole idea of letters of credit are not preferable. Because the letter of credits fade or they don't get renewed, and then the bank and the people contest it. When there's real money and a real deposit, you have real cash.
Who's managing it? Like, how do we not end up on TV for like somebody using this money for a gambling trip or something? You know, like
We should just put it under our mattress.
that's what I'm saying. I just don't want like an extra responsibility of. I've just never heard of people turning money over to the town for them to manage. Like, I don't even know if that's a possibility. Do you?
It would be the comptroller who would manage those funds. I mean, right now we're taking in cash escrow for every planning board project. I mean, obviously it's much smaller amounts. but
Yeah.
We do have escrow and escrow accounts. So I assume this would be managed in the same way, but just at a bigger scale. But we don't keep any money in our department. It's all done through the comptroller.
The
Yeah.
town did an extensive audit probably 4 or 5 years ago. And they have succinct policies and procedures to make this happen. Not that they didn't before, but there was a state audit. Guy was here for like 18 months. And it was pretty painful.
I would just suggest that this would be a roadblock for this because of the dollars that we're talking.
Yeah, what kind of dollars are we talking about?
Yeah.
We're not talking a couple $100,000. We're talking closer to probably $1 million, considering the cost of the system.
We've had solar arrays. Where are we at with that? now.
So the town is keeping this money in an escrow
2 or 3
account.
million in cash,
So let me
it's
ask
not
you
even an issue.
Are we requiring a third party to determine the decommissioning cost?
I was going to ask the same question. I think if it's the developer, then I feel like the town should audit that or have a third party validate it.
Can you explain
That
to me
Michelle-
more about what we're doing for the solar arrays again? I think I missed what
Well, we
Doug
don't
said.
have solar arrays here, so we can't go by that. We can only go by what we see in other municipalities.
I think she's asking under the solar legislation ordinances. What is the similar,
Right, the decommissioning
Yeah.
is reviewed by usually an engineer.
what is there a escrow?
Yes. Yes. And the problem you have, Jenny, is these type of applications, they get flipped and they get flipped and they get flipped, right? So the person who does the permitting is never the person that does the construction, and is never the person that does the operation and maintenance. Case in point is, the solar array on the landfill in DeWitt. I think we're on our 5th owner now, right? So, if you ask for a letter of credit or a bond or something else, it goes out the window in 6 to 8 months. So, you need real money and you need checks and balances along those lines with the decommissioning and that type of stuff. And I think Alana's got in here that, somebody's got to certify this thing on an annual basis, because that's the next question. How do you know when they get flipped? I mean, it's like a building in town, right? We never know who the owner is until we look on the tax roll, right? And we don't. I mean, a lot of times, those original site plans, once the building gets flipped 3 or 4 times, unless we get a violation, we don't know what's going on there either, right? So I think it's the same thing here too. Or
Okay, yeah. I disagree with it, but I don't object to what you're saying. So I just take it to,
Disagree with what, Bill? The cash?
yes. This is my pro-business side.
Well, so for me, you got at least they got to get the interest, right? That's mandated by law for rentals, security deposits, right? It's a security deposit, what it basically is, right? And there's rules around that. And it's got to be an escrow, and then somebody should be getting the interest, right?
That was going to be my question. Is there?
It
is
should
it
not.
an
It shouldn't be us.
It should be in an interest-bearing account, and the interest should go to the applicant.
I'll have to, I don't know the answer to that, because I don't deal with cash.
Okay, just because we got 4 more items on Alana's list, we have to kind of move this through right now. We can talk about this for who can get clarity on the escrow, whether it's interest bearing, how that gets back. Somebody.
Oh, I have one more thing. It's the full amount of the decommissioning, because no project is typically fully funded. It's typically like a percentage of a project is funded and it moves forward. So it's for the 100% cost of the decommissioning?
So the hesitation on that one, Jenny, is that the company just up and walks.
Yeah.
And they shut down, they kind of walk away and they disappear and they leave 25% decommissioning in there. The town is held holding the 75% on the other end.
And we don't
It's
know what
not
the
our
established
land,
cleanup
though.
would be.
Yeah, but it's not our land. It's not, you know what I mean? It's not our land. So if they walked, are we saying that we get the land now? Because then you would put the land value into it as part of the cost. I just am saying, I feel like this is a large equation, but to have 100% of the cost, it doesn't make sense to me unless it was our land after this.
It's the cost of the anticipated cleanup to decommission the.
And isn't that pretty
But
typical?
wouldn't that fall on whoever's going to buy that property next?
That's what I was saying.
But
It's
what if
not.
What if nobody wants it?
doesn't, or what if it starts leaking, or what if there's a fire? it has to be decommissioned. If
Well, we don't have an established cost of what that might be.
Not right
it
now.
would probably be different for every system depending on the size and different factors, and that would be up to the town, which would be like the engineers to determine.
To determine what?
Yeah.
Determine the amount that they would hold?
The cost would be.
Yeah.
Well,
But-
when there's a fire and it
Yeah, the
gives a
cleanup
plume
cost.
in the air and it falls out over a residential that's over 1,000 yards away, and who's cleaning all that up? I don't know.
Well, the thought is to
Well, I think-
decommission so that there
I think
isn't.
that's an insurance.
That's the insurance
Yeah.
part, I thought.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's not decommissioning at that point.
Yeah, I guess I'm just wondering, like, what else has that type of rule for this decommissioning and everything that we could compare it and base it on? Because
Solar.
Yeah, Doug and Jamie are saying solar arrays that they have seen in other towns that they represent. We don't.
do you
have-
guys have one that we could look at?
Or
Jamie?
underground storage, gas tanks and fuel storage, is that
Yeah.
also regulated the same way?
No, because it's the landowner's responsibility to do all that. Like the cost falls on the landowner.
But think about all the properties that we can't redevelop, maybe not in the town of DeWitt, but in other places that never had a decommissioning plan. And so you've got this gas station that's sitting around that nobody can touch for 20 years or more because nobody can remediate it or kind of move it to a developable place. Like this is going to avoid that situation.
Well, that's why I'm saying it should have something to do with the land because it should just be like turned over in a way, kind of thing. If they're gonna abandon it to us that has the 50% cost covered to decommission it.
Well, I
Perhaps
think
when,
with Jenny, you
perhaps when they apply to do this, then there has to be some legality in that they sign an agreement that they would decommission it if they sold it.
I think that's Doug's point
because-
though, is they is a little obscure.
Well, it would be the owner of the land because we have no way to determine what that's going to cost. So instead of trying to determine what it's going to cost, make the owner responsible to decommission it. If it
So,
got
so
sold.
Hold on, let Jamie talk for a second.
here's my suggestion. This, the committee that looked at this, including the supervisor, was good with this. I would, remember, we're gonna do a recommendation, so we can recommend this, but we can also put in, I can formulate a sentence that there's concern about the extent of the decommissioning and the cash requirement, and that be reviewed by the town board as kind of a concern of this board. So we don't have to wholly say everything's 100% okay, but maybe say, here it is, and here's our one other recommendation, look at this a little more closely. The other thing is, if this gets passed in its current form, because everyone's bringing up great points, it can be modified. And maybe when that first project comes in, then the town board's gonna be like, well, this makes no sense, or they're gonna have a negotiation with the developer, and it can be modified at that time.
I agree with that because there's many recommendations that we send back to them with clauses.
Right.
We're not the,
And ultimately, they're gonna make whatever final decision they
Right.
want,
it's theirs.
so.
I think we can, I'll put together something
Yeah.
that expresses concern with that.
The best we have is the evidence.
So Jamie, could you add something that they can use the equity value of the land as part of that cash?
I'll put that as, that would be a factor that might be considered, and if anyone has anything else, send it to me, and I'll get that in the resolution. We can also modify it that evening.
Like,
So that would be one of many suggestions for
if
that.
there was a lien on the property kind of thing.
Mhm.
Well,
Something
yeah,
Right, that's why I
always
said it's the
stays with
equity value.
property.
It's the equity
Yeah,
value.
exactly.
Right. But if the property's worth $10 million, do I really need to put, and I own it, do I need to put cash down on top of it? Probably not, right?
I don't know if after a devastating contamination, it's going to be worth $10 million.
Right.
Right,
But
there
then
may
you
not
clean
be
it up for
any
$10 million
equity.
and it's worth $10 million again.
Right, but
Still different.
and we can't like make every assumption, like we can't make every rule thinking about the worst, absolute worst thing.
Right.
Yeah.
For decommissioning, this is not for if there's a fire, two different things.
So we've got 3 other items I'd like to discuss, just because we gotta move along here.
You're making a very good effort to move along, Nate.
I'm trying my hardest right now, because we could sit here and talk about this all day long. I think in the end, take what's here, get any additional comments if needed to Jamie today, so that we can integrate them. I think, like she said, you're all great points and a great discussion, but we have 4 more that we have to talk about right now and get that done.
Yeah.
So
So the next section on insurance, Bill had brought up something about pollution liability insurance. I'm not an insurance person and don't know anything about this. I mean, we had kind of,
I'm not either, but like what we just talked about,
yeah.
bring that up to the,
Okay.
as part of the
There's
recommendation.
different
It's a simple,
insurance
yeah,
policies that need to be considered.
yeah.
Okay.
That's common.
And I feel like if we didn't have that in there, people would use that as their argument of why they wouldn't have to leave any type of deposit or money because they were like, oh, but we have the insurance. But if they leave, there's no longer insurance, or if they stop carrying insurance.
Right. Okay, so we'll make a comment about that. Then under 192, 145 site plan requirements, we just made a small change to number 10, engineering documents stamped and signed by a New York State licensed professional engineer.
Which is no different than what we do right
For
now.
everything
We
else,
require-
yeah. And then in 11A in that same section, fencing requirements, we took out and may include a self-locking gate to prevent unauthorized access. The thought was just like the planning board's gonna review this fence like any other fence and tell them what's
I
required.
look at that as the same as a fence or pool. It has to be secured.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah, so that's something but the planning board will review the fence.
Yep.
Okay. So then that same section C, under screening and visibility, we had a subsection I about a setback from public rights of way or adjacent property lines of 100 feet. We'd like to remove that. We took a look at parcels in the industrial zone, and this would cut out quite a few parcels that are smaller and wouldn't have room for these setbacks. We still have the residential setback in there, so we wanted to remove this one.
So what are we saying in terms of setbacks?
So setbacks
from the
are
right-of-way?
regular setbacks in the industrial zone. So right now, front yard setback is 50 feet. So it would just be.
And this is under screening and visibility though.
Yep. This was something we had added. We'd like to take it up.
My only concern with that, like stated, whether it's a solar field or a battery system. My personal side is, I don't want to see it.
I don't want to see
Well, we
it.
still
So
have the screening and visibility section in here. It says battery energy storage system shall have use minimized from adjacent properties and public rights of way to the extent reasonably practicable, using architectural features, earthworms, landscaping, and or other screening methods that will harmonize with the character of the property and surrounding area and not interfere with ventilation or exhaust.
Perfect.
So that's already in there.
I like,
So we're just trying to get rid of the setback from
Yeah.
adjacent property lines, rights of way.
Right.
And it would just default to the industrial zoning district setbacks that we have.
I think that's fair.
okay.
Alana and Jamie, I did send you guys some thoughts on
Yes.
this. And you can take it or leave it, but I've actually been doing some like lectures with the Case Land Use Law Center about kind of how to screen this with some other colleagues who do environmental permitting and EDR. And there's kind of like a process for understanding how do you know if it's going to be visible from other places, that, you know, if you do a viewshed analysis that tells you kind of like where it's going to be visible from, and then, you know, ask for simulations for places that matter. You know, if there's a residential neighborhood, you would assess the impacts from those places. Like, is it tiny because it's so far away, or is it, you know, is it over a hill so the hill's blocking it? And then you know, ask for some kind of put the mitigation in if that's necessary, and then you show what that's gonna look like. It's a way of preventing the applicant from having to like completely screen the whole thing, basically from asking them to do it, just by actually understanding what the impacts will be, so.
Is that like a landscape architect
Yeah,
assessment?
yes, right, yeah, there's like a visual impact assessment.
Yeah,
So
and I'm sorry, and I did read it and then I.
That's okay, it was late, it was
Yeah.
later, I'm sure that it was helpful for you, so like I said, take it or leave it, that it just kind of is language that outlines like how we would ask an applicant to do that.
Are you okay with Jamie sending it out to the board? And
Yeah, yeah.
everyone can look at the language and see
I support that because it takes that
Jamie. do you-
role out of our.
I'll look at it.
And we can, and it sort of allows us to say, well, did you do these things? Show us the drawings that show how it's gonna impact this residential neighborhood. And if the view shed analysis shows it's not going to, they can be done after that, you know, sort of.
Which is completely separate from fencing in terms of security.
Yeah, totally different,
100%.
yes,
Okay. so-
9:49 PM.
sorry, girl.
That's really our.
Yeah, that's my point, we have to do that stuff.
Look at your times by you.
All right,
All right,
last
so
one.
Jamie will put that out to the board.
Yeah.
So if everyone can take a look at the language that Sarah is suggesting, and we can maybe provide comments straight back to Jamie, to the board.
Yeah, and just for context, that language is pretty typical for other communities, that particularly like big solar arrays where they're actually cited in agriculture. So, you know, people really care about how it looks, but in some cases here, they care too. So.
Thank you, Sarah.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so then same section D, floodplain analysis. So we added a sentence to that one saying battery energy storage systems located in a 100-year floodplain shall have a finished floor elevation at or above the base flood elevation plus 2 feet.
So
Pretty standard.
standard for building, but does this contradict the statement earlier where we're saying that they can't be any closer than 100 feet floodplain?
The wetland.
Oh, the wetland, that's right, sorry, that was wetland. Yes. That is standard.
So just
building.
making sure that they're.
Yep, they're elevated
out of the
2 feet
floodplain.
out of the floodplain.
And I'm not actually comfortable with the feet, but you gotta start something.
If we want to start conservative and then we can see how things are going, we can always open up more.
No, I'm actually
So
talking about
is-
200.
Oh, for wetlands?
No, for elevation above flood. So I'm saying 100-year. I'd rather see it higher, but I don't have a basis for demanding more than 100.
Yeah, our weather has been absolutely crazy lately,
Yeah,
but
right.
so what does our building code say right now about being out of the floodplain and where,
Commercial,
sorry?
it's 2 feet for commercial.
Yeah.
So why do we have to put this? Isn't it already in the code is kind of what I'm asking.
I'm not entirely 100% sure that it falls under that building code, so I think just putting it in there just reinforces it. I don't think it detracts from it. I don't think it contradicts anything.
Okay. I would say if we wanted to exceed it, we would put it like to exceed the building code by 1 foot or to exceed it by 2 feet or, but
I think to Nate's point, they may not necessarily in the building or fire code speak to a battery energy storage system.
The same way, like I don't know that like a generator would be required to be 2 feet above the floodplain. I may not know that right now, but it's the same basic premise, right?
Fukushima.
I know what you're saying, yeah.
So
Fukushima.
Okay, that's everything that we added or changed.
So take a look at what Jamie sends out. Any last little comments?
What I just,
Get those back today because we need to get those circulated, and then we'll have our kind of last discussion, hopefully much shorter than this, on Thursday night.
and I just marked up a new version as we went through, so I'm gonna send that to Jamie and she'll send it out to the board. So you can see where we are currently.
Hey Nate, I just got two quick comments, maybe three that people can think about. One, the 60 dBA ruling. I'm not sure where that comes from. The 15-foot height and underground wiring. Something to think about. So 60
Wait.
dBA is very quiet. How's that compared to the existing industrial rules?
I think they're good points to bring up. I will also ask that you send those so that.
Yep, I'm working on it.
Thank you, Kevin.
You're saying to reduce the decibel?
All right, raise it, because.
Raise it.
60 is, that's talking.
Yeah, it's
60.
Your neighbor with their lawnmower is
I think
longer.
we took that straight out of the model code, the state model code. I'm
Yeah, but what's the conditional? We never talk about noise for industrial, do we?
we do have a noise code.
Right there.
They don't make
Burn
Right.
dairy and come back to the burn
Right.
dairy.
free ever. So
They do make noise, I think.
there's a
They
home.
have fans.
There could be fans. I would suggest tacking on what Sarah said in regard, not only visual, but an auditory review. Well, okay, I'll say, but her idea, and I know that.
To actually understand what.
I know that National Grid, in citing a substation, part of their DEC responsibilities is to note the auditory impact. So that's no different.
Yeah.
Once again, to take it out of our hands and put it in the hands of architects and engineers in a study. Presented as an he said, she said.
This is not part of a seeker listed action yet, is it? Or would it be?
It will, at town board, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, they'll conduct the seeker there.
I meant at the application level when the
Oh.
development.
Yeah, I haven't even talked about what it might be. I haven't even thought about what it might be when it comes in, if it's a type 1 or type or unlisted action. Don't know offhand.
Because I think some of these issues would come up during that process, these impacts.
Yes. Okay, so we'll send that out to everyone to review. Are we good with Bess
For now,
for now?
I mean, again, we're making a recommendation. Town board is gonna make whatever changes and adjustments they're gonna make.
No, I think they look very closely
Yeah.
at what we've done. It's been, and in the resolution, this has been talked about multiple meetings, very carefully analyzed by this board, and thank you.
This has
Really-
definitely been a best
really-
conversation.
It's really appreciated.
Now we're going to.
Now we're getting on. The train's starting to come off the rails here. With that said, we're gonna stop this there. And I think that would conclude our work session this morning.
Were we gonna talk about the zoning map?
We already did. You
Okay,
stepped out.
oh, that's when I stepped out? Oh,
Yes.
good. Okay.
Yeah, so we're moving along on that one. All right.